People are hopping on.
So when do you share the screen so we can see it?
Well, here in a minute. I was just
Oh,
going to give
okay.
people a chance to get on.
Oh, they just start getting on. Okay. So they don't see us yet?
No, they do.
Oh, they do. Oh, hi.
Hi, everybody.
Okay.
regret.
Okay. I just don't see the title slide, so I was just curious. Okay.
Yeah. Here in a second, we'll flip that switch too.
Okay.
Here come friends.
Yay, friends.
We'll give it just a little bit longer, like sure people can get on, and then we will get started.
I'm seeing a lot of names I recognize.
It's
I don't see names.
Go down to participants.
Oh, okay.
Then
Yay.
attendees.
Oh, I see them now.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I think I'm going to check my chat settings. I'm pretty sure we're good. I think we're okay. Okay. Well, I will go ahead and just start talking for the sake of time. See lots of people jumping on. Welcome. Happy Thursday. Happy January 26th. The month is flying by. So many things happening all at the same time. My name is Laura Miller. I am an account executive for Test Town, and seeing some of the names coming on, have had the pleasure of getting to know a lot of you over the years and working with you. If I haven't met you yet, nice to meet you. Want to tell you that we also have Carrie Bartholomew with us as well, who's also a Test Town account executive. And looks like she's already started off the chat, which is a great example for you all to know that you can put questions in the chat. There is a Q&A feature as well. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're just going to launch into what we're doing today, because it's a definitely lunch and learn kind of event. We have started a new thing this year called Conversations with Educators, just to try to get us all talking about relevant topics within the system and within Test Town. And today is a very relevant topic, as again, it's January. We are all moving fast and furious into the busiest season of all of your lives. And so the topic we chose for today is verifying student accommodations before loading them into Tide. So just to kind of walk through what our agenda will be, we are going to obviously introduce our fabulous guest speakers and let them discuss the guiding question, and then answer any Q&A that comes up along the way before our time is over. So we are incredibly fortunate today to have some incredible people with us. We have Jamie Hagler-Barron, who is the Director of Special Programs and Testing in Vidor ISD in Texas, and also the fabulous Shannon Kurt, who is a District Test Coordinator in Northside ISD. So before we jump into the question, I think I'm going to let both of them just have a chance to tell a bit more about what their job entails and about their background. Y'all go ahead.
You want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Jamie Barron. I am like she said, the Director of Special Programs and Testing in Vidor. I was a high school math and art teacher for 19 years before moving into curriculum. And you know how things like that go. And I did instruction and coordination of programs and like that, and then moved on into being testing coordinator, and now I do everything with special programs, which is all the title programs. I'm the District 504 coordinator. I handle all the little details of all those different programs, many hats, because we're a small district.
And I am Shannon Kurt, and I'm excited to be here with you guys today. I've been a district testing coordinator for right at 15 years, and in 4 different size districts. First, a district of about 5,000, then the next district was about 10,000, then 14,000, and now I am in Northside, and we have 102,000 students. So definitely the largest district that I have served as a district testing coordinator. I have been a Test Town user since its inception when it was back in beta, 15 years ago, and I've transitioned 2 districts to use Testhound in my career. And when I got here to Northside in July of 2022, they were already a Testhound user. So I got to just step right in with them. So I'm excited to be here today and to share with everyone.
Great. And we are again thrilled to have you. Thank you for your time. And everyone's really looking forward to your expertise. So without any further ado, we can just go straight into our question or topic of the day. Again, very timely as we're beginning to get ready for spring testing. So Shannon and Jamie, you're going to be able just to kind of walk us through what they do, but I guess I'll just ask it out loud. How do you verify student accommodations before loading them into Tide? What are y'all's processes?
So that is a great question. And so we're excited to share with you today about that. So and that is a very important question too, is making sure that your students' accommodations are verified before you load them into Tide. So I'll tell you a little bit about our processes, the processes that I've used in the past and processes that we have here. And those are how we verify those is we start with Testhound, right? And we go into Testhound and we run our master accommodations report by program. So that would be special ed, 504, the emergent bilingual. And when we run those by program, after we get that nice spreadsheet, then we export that to Excel, and then we start working with that spreadsheet by removing columns we don't need to make that spreadsheet more manageable. And then once we have that list of what we have in Tide, so we've always had the automatic feed running from our hub that houses all of our accommodations into Testtown. We have that nightly feed set up in all the districts I've worked with. And so every night that is updating, right? And so after we export that, then those spreadsheets or that list of students goes to that program coordinator on our campus. So that would be like the LPAC coordinator, the special ed coordinator, the person over 504, and they verify those lists. And if they see anything wrong on the list from Testhound, then where did they fix that? That has to be fixed, right? So it gets corrected in Testtown before we upload that list to Tide. And so what they would do then is that they would go back to the source that's feeding Testhound, right? So if they find a mistake, we have Frontline, that is our in-house system, and they would go fix it in there and update that student's accommodation, mark it on the sheet that they've updated it. And then what happens then is overnight, that'll be updated in Testhound and it'll be corrected. And the great thing is that as a district coordinator, make sure you have your alerts turned on for your campuses, so then they can see that correction come in the next day in the alert box for accommodations. And so that is the process that we use. And we don't do that process until about 2 weeks before testing, to make sure everything is good to go for testing. Of course, campuses are always looking at accommodations because we do all of our state interim assessments throughout the year. And so they're always looking at them and they're always on top of them, but we require them to do that final verification before our state assessment. And then once all that's done and everything is up to date, then we're ready to download our file and upload that into Tide. And so that's kind of the process that we have found that works well for us.
And our process is, after talking to Shannon, our process is almost identical. We do the same thing. We pull out that master's accommodations report by program so that every person every director, coordinator can look at just the students that they come in contact with. And we have them, like she said, we have them double check it with, we also use Frontline. And we just have to make sure that, because everything doesn't always talk like it needs to, and that's mainly because of what they've put into the system, but it helps them see that them clicking in Frontline too many different types of accommodations can cause issues later. And so, so we get them to verify it, make sure that all of our students have what they need. We do get them to sign off on it. And we do this, like she said, like 2 weeks before. We pretty much do it before interims, because that gives them a chance to make sure it's in there in Cambium correctly, so that the students can test. And then we do it again before STAR, because things can change. They could have found errors that we didn't fix on our end. But also, you want to make sure that they verify it, because if the students do not get the correct accommodations, or they get accommodations that they should not, then that's a testing irregularity, which causes more paperwork for everybody after the fact. And so it really does help. And what I love, and I thank TestHound like all the time, is the fact that we have that attributes file that now we can download. And my people are like so happy to see it now. So I have a few that want to try to do it by hand, but I think after they see that it takes like no time at all, that they're going to, be on board too with wanting us to download that and upload it into Cambium. So
Another thing that we've done, is that okay? And
yeah, go ahead. I was just going to
and-
ask too, kind of leading into that attributes report, like what that looks like for y'all in that process, but I didn't want to interrupt you, Shannon. So go ahead. Maybe
I was just going to say that another thing we do at the beginning of the school year. So if you hear this and you're like, wow, I've never done that, I probably wouldn't do it now. I would probably wait until do it this summer. Is that whatever file that is loading, that is out there, that is loading TestTown, like we have Frontline. So that file, we get that file out of Frontline and we edit it. So because in Frontline, or whatever system houses your accommodations that is feeding into TestTown, they have, like, for example, text to speech or oral administration, like listed in 20 different ways on that file, at least. I mean, and your campuses don't need 20 different ways to say text to speech or, read at request. And so and Frontline, updates this annually. And so when they've updated it, we get that Excel spreadsheet, and our testing office works to condense that to just what we need. Just what we need. So you basically end up with like 3 oral accommodations versus like 40. And then we upload that into Frontline so campuses can only select those. And then, on the flip side of that, on TestHound, then we edit our screens for what our campuses see, the front end of TestHound. So if you've never done that, so like when you go into TestTown and you look at pull up one student and you look at their math accommodations, and you see, like, maybe you see 20 different supports there. And in your TestHound, maybe you took over for somebody that was there last year and they had oral administration like listed 10 different ways. You can actually edit that screen to whatever you want it to say. And so then we kind of get those matched up at the beginning of the year, and that really streamlines the process. So we don't, so it also helps with our mapping process too, because we don't have all these accommodations coming in that people are choosing, that we're constantly having to go in there and map to just like, text to speech. So that is something that we also do. That helps this whole process and really keeps our accommodations nice and clean.
And that's something I'm looking forward to doing this year too, because it's been just time consuming. Like TestTown already makes everything like so much quicker, but I think this is going to make TestTown go even faster for our campus testing coordinators and everybody. So I'm planning on sitting down with our SPED department. Probably don't have to sit down with our LPAC as much, and I'm over 504, so that I'm got both hats there for testing and 504. So I'm really looking forward to getting this all straightened out, so that it makes, like I said, TestTown already makes everything go so fast for us, so much more compared to how we used to do everything by hand. But I think this will make it even faster for my people.
So if we can talk a little bit more, Jamie, you kind of touched on using the attributes report and how that's streamlined processes for you as far as getting the accommodations and into the Cambium tied system. can both of you kind of just give us a little bit more information on what that looks like for your district, or how you're using that, or how that has helped streamline some things there too?
Well, one thing I can tell you is what it does not look like is the old way. Like I compare it to having to register every student by hand. You have to do it by hand, You know, every single kid, you have like a million clicks. And then we have an upload file that helps us register the kids all at once. Well, this attribute file does the same way. You don't have to go look for student one, go view and edit, find them, go scroll all the way to the bottom to attributes and have to toggle that on and then save, and then wait for it to save, and then go back to the next kid and do the same thing. When you download that file from Test Town, after you've already got all the kids set up into their tests and everything, it's just a matter of a download, and then you go into Cambium and upload. It's a matter of like not even 10 clicks, where doing it by hand is hundreds and thousands of clicks.
Very nice. And I do the same thing. And one thing that I did previously here, previously before this district, is that I gave my campuses a deadline on when I was going to upload that district file. So this is kind of what I said, because you have to put the students in test sessions, and don't let that scare you guys, because that is simple. All right. You have to put the students in test sessions before you can extract that file. And it literally takes a campus less than 10 minutes to pull their students in a test session. So I said, hey, if you want me to upload all your accommodations, then you have to have your students in test sessions by this date. And they were like, okay. And I said, and if you don't have your students in test sessions by this date, guess what? You can do it by hand, or you can download the file yourself and upload it yourself. And I had a how-to sheet for campuses, because campuses can do this also themselves. They can also download their own attribute file and upload it into Tide themselves. And so if they didn't want to do that, they had to have their students in test sessions. And then I had some campuses that are like, forget it, I'll do it myself. I've got the how-to sheet. I can go into Test Town. I know how to do that. I'll just download and upload my own. And so some of them did it themselves, and giving them the power to be able to do that was really, that was the first year last year that I'd ever done that, like allowed them to go in and do that. And they loved it. Because right before interim assessments, they could just go in and download and upload and make sure everything was right. And before STAR, they could, and you know why? And they could be for sure that, you know why? Why were they for sure that that was okay to do, like the day before? It's because they had already verified their accommodations, because a couple of weeks before, they went through the verification process and they printed their master accommodation rosters, and they verified them, and they verified them with with Frontline to make sure everything was right. So, and then after that, they just monitor their little alert boxes and everything works. And so that's what we did. So I gave them that option, and you know what? And if they just chose, I did not want them going in there and clicking, themselves, because to me, I believe when you have too many hands in the data, you have more opportunities to make mistakes. So I think anytime you can do anything through an upload is definitely better than when you have people manually going in to the system to check. So that was the process that they had. They could have their students in session before the date I uploaded it for the district, or they could do it themselves through an upload.
Great, thank y'all. I did want to bring up a couple of questions that came up in the chat, and as I was as I was reading the chat, I was realizing I was also sharing my screen, so probably everyone was watching me read the chat, but that's okay. There are a couple of questions. One specific to Success Ed as a vendor. I'm not sure we're going to be able to answer that. Shannon or Jamie, you might have some knowledge of that, and if you do, great, and if not, that's okay. But how to manipulate the file from Success Ed in the same manner that she talked about manipulating it from Frontline. The next one was then how do you manipulate the accommodations in Test Town, which I know the answer to that, but y'all go ahead and if you have any Success Ed knowledge, great. If not, at least how maybe you can do that in Test Town.
So
I've always
oh,
used Frontline, so I'm not
yeah.
familiar with
Right.
Success Ed.
Same with, yeah, same here. I don't use Success Ed, but Success Ed has to also run off an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, they have to, so you should be able to, because those accommodations are populated in Success Ed somehow, that you should be able to, I'm sorry, not run, but you should be able to download those. You should be able to download the options that Success Ed is providing, and we can download those in a spreadsheet, and then you can edit them and then upload them. So I would think that you would want to reach out to your Success Ed, account manager, and ask them about that, because you should be able to edit that file. And then to edit the screen, your student screens in Test Town, under district management, you just go to accommodations. And when you click accommodations, you're going to see all the accommodations. And from there, you can edit, delete them, or alter them per subject. But again, your Test Town account manager can definitely help you with that. Also getting your student accommodation screens cleaned up and to read like you like them. Did I
Right.
answer that right? Is that
Yeah, that's
okay?
perfect. That's what I was going to say too. Yeah, and reaching out to either side, and that's one thing with us too. For if you need to know how to do something, or if you need help with anything, you can always reach out to us through support. We're here to, especially as things start gearing up for you at the district level and your campus users too, to support you and help you get any answers to questions that you need. Both of you, what is just maybe the most common or troubleshooting thing with accommodations that you would recommend at the district level to help their campuses? What's maybe the most common thing you see over time of oh, this always happens to us, and this is how we have helped our campuses fix it when it comes to accommodations and autopilot before putting them in Tide?
You want to go, Jamie?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I have enough information on that.
So
You go-
you're asking about a common question that comes
Maybe a
up?
common issue that your campuses, this comes up every year. It's something you maybe train your campuses. This always happens. It's an issue, how we fixed it or how it makes it better. If that makes sense, just a common situation that maybe your campuses face with autopilot and accommodations that you have a great recommendation for to help them.
Well, actually, we have a great instructional technology coordinator in our district that takes care of all that.
Yeah,
So,
I was just thinking, like, for me, the accommodation's not coming through on a student. Have you checked your autopilot? Have you verified? Like little things like that. Do you have any like just caveats or things like that that help your campuses? Things that come up constantly.
usually in my training, I have a little screenshot of the pink or red, whatever you call it, where they have to change those, approve them and everything. And so, I bring that up often. I do go into Test Town and I go through, I only have 6 campuses, so I can do this. And I go through and I just kind of look every so often to see if anybody has any. And you can tell, like, if it's pink and it's like 2 or 3, that just means they probably haven't done it that day or in a few days. If they have hundreds, then they haven't done it in a while. So I shoot them an email. But again, I'm a small district, so I'm able to do that. If I had a lot of campuses, that wouldn't be as easy. That I know of.
I would say what I would tell them is you need to make sure you let Test Town work for you. I think over my years when I've had a testing coordinator, I know one good thing that I do is that they wanted, they wanted to go in and do all the clicks themselves. I'm like, no, that's not the point of this. Test Town, you want it to work for you. You want the automatic feeds to work. You want everything syncing correctly. And one thing I do is I block out the ability for the testing coordinators to manually check accommodations for the ones that are feeding through autopilot. Guys, that is huge, because if you, there's a setting where you can block that out, because if you don't block that out, then the testing coordinator can go in there and check an accommodation, but then when the file loads, it's going to do what? Erase it. And then you have this constant, and that until I blocked that ability out, to where they cannot, the only manual checks they can make for students are students that are not flowing through autopilot. So for students that are like RTI, or just, a regular student that has something, they're going through MTSS or something, because our autopilot map is for special ed 504 and left, right? And or EB. And so they can only manually check those. So we have to make sure that our our flow is right, right? Things are coming in correctly, and we have to verify those. And another thing is that one of the common problems that I now that I think of it, is that when they first call and tell you that the accommodations aren't showing up correctly, first thing you need to do is go see if they've accepted their what do you call it? Their
Alerts.
alerts. Yes,
Alerts.
correct. And
Mhm.
you don't want to auto publish alert. You want your campuses to, you want to teach that. You want to teach the alert box. You want to teach that they accept all those alerts, because they need to see those coming through. Because what happens if you auto publish those, then changes are happening that they're not even ever aware of. For me, the only time that is good to auto publish is if you adjust your like in the summertime when you're cleaning things up in the summer, like June, July, August, when we're cleaning up Test Town and we're working in Frontline to get our everything straight with the new updates, we will auto publish, because we just want it auto publishing during those months when nobody is working on it. Okay, then when school starts back up again, you pull off that auto publish and you make sure that all accommodations are going through those alerts. And that's how you train them. So that is probably the most common question that we get, is they tell you it's all wrong and it's not matching. And the first thing you have to go in is make sure they accepted their alerts. And you're like, hey, well, you know what? After you accept your alerts, then let's see if it, matches up. So that's one of the common things. And that's just a training piece to ensure that they are going through that process, of constantly making sure they stay on top of that, of their alerts.
Y'all are awesome. Such fantastic advice. I probably could have asked that question a whole lot better, and it would have made more sense.
That's good. Well, I hope that
Y'all-
helps.
Y'all answered it wonderfully. I know I'm sharing my screen, but I'm looking at some people that are just putting some great things in the chat here. Hoping,
I
okay.
see somebody said, how do you block out the CTC to,
Yeah.
that's a setting you can, I can't think right off the top of my head where you go to do that, but you can definitely call, my amazing last secretary, Carrie, now works for Test Town. I know she answers the phone, so shout out to Carrie Langford. And if you call, you may get her, and I know she can tell you where it is to block that out, but you can only block them out for autopilot once, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And there is a setting at the district level autopilot tab. I can see it in my head and I can tell you where to go, but truly,
Block that out.
Yeah. And you could call somebody and ask. And I'm also seeing a question about the registration file coming up through the Q&A that we're literally down to 2 minutes left. And so, and I just want to encourage again, anything that you need as far as support or questions, the help tab, there's different ways to reach us. There's the phone number in the help tab. There's create a work ticket in the help tab. All of those things will get you to our people that can help you with things as we're really gearing up. And that's your campus folks too. It's been a lot of fun for me personally. I got to go to a Region 10 and 11 CTC event last week. I'm attending a Region 4 event for CTCs next week. And so we know it's time for all of your campus folks to really get in and get going. And we're ramping up our support to help you all with that. If questions continue to come up after this, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. But I am, just because I know we're on the 30-minute window and this is such a great topic, just want a couple things point out, what are we here for? Test Town is here to help you make your life easier when it comes to assessment management. We want to save you time. We want to streamline processes. We want to do all of these things. That's what our product is designed to do. And we have several others. Some you are familiar with, a couple are new. Embark is for curriculum, Cardonics for master scheduling. I'm a former counselor, so the Pathways graduation tracking one that I've been seeing develop is pretty amazing. And we also even have one for teacher evaluation. So reach out to Carrie or myself. We can get you in touch with the right people if any of these seem like something else you'd be interested in pursuing within your district. And the biggest thing, there's our number. Then of course through the help ticket you can get to us. But thank you all for your time. Jamie and Shannon, I cannot thank you enough for your time and offering your expertise. I think we would love to hear feedback over, whenever you have time, like have these been helpful? How could we do things differently? What would be more topics you would like to see? All of that, we're interested in getting some feedback, but thank you all so much for joining us, and Jamie, Shannon, especially again for your expertise. Looks like Shannon, now that I'm not sharing my screen, I can see the chat. Shannon put her email in, which is very, very sweet and kind to do. And Jamie as well. T-Snap, right? Let's promote a little T-Snap.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, and let's also promote NAPP because we do have people joining us on these webinars from different states. Awesome. With some different needs, but some also very similar needs. And NAPP has been a great organization to bring us all together for collaboration and communication. So we did it. Okay. 12:31.
It was so much fun. Thank you guys. And my email is there. Feel free to email me and Jamie too. And we can definitely help you guys also. But TestSound is a great partner with us with T-Snap. That's our Texas state local organization. And I've known these ladies for a long time. I used to do everything Carrie did. Every time she did something when she was a DTC, I was like, will you please send me that? And I've known Laura for a long time and Jamie, and this was a lot of fun. So thank y'all for having Jamie and I today. We really had a lot of fun sharing with everyone that was able to join.
Collaboration's great, right? Bringing heads together. And that's the only way I think we can survive all the crazy things we do in education. So thank you all again. And everyone, best wishes, good luck next month. Next week is a new month. It's already February. So time is flying and we're here to help you in every way we can.
We appreciate you guys. Thanks for always being there for us.
Make our jobs easier.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.